Today I showcase our sci-fi props and how to use editing to advance your sci-fi short films. Welcome back to Backyard Filmmaking. I'm your host Chris, and in this week's episode I'll be showcasing our sci-fi prop collection and how to add some awesome effects to your sci-fi short films. The props I'll be showcasing today range from additions to costumes to laser guns. In the case of a laser gun, if you decide to mimic a laser gun prop, make sure everyone around you knows it is a fake gun. If you don't do this, you can get into some serious legal trouble. In today's episode, I will also be giving you some cool tips on how to add interesting effects to a sci-fi short film. Like I said earlier, if you're interested in any of these props, feel free to tag along as I describe how I created them. The first prop we'll be taking a look at is this gas mask. As you can see here, the base for this prop was a painter's mask. This mask doesn't have air filters like some more expensive painter's masks do. So in order to save money, I used 2 container caps to serve as the filters. I glued these caps onto the mask, then painted the caps with some black spray paint. Finally, I did some silver weathering, also using spray paint. As I was doing research for this build, I came across a pattern on a lot of the gas masks. Most of them had an X running across their air filters, so I decided to mimic this design by using some thin cardboard strips and hot gluing them onto the container caps. I used the same painting technique on the rest of the build on these strips. Next, we'll be reviewing this armored glove that Kyle made. He used an old glove and cut out the additional pieces you can see here using EVA foam. Once these foam pieces were cut, he painted some using a dark green spray paint and others using a silver spray paint. These silver spray painted pieces were then washed over with a black acrylic wash. Here we have a Nerf gun that Kyle painted and weathered in such a way to make it seem that it fits into a sci-fi world and be a laser gun. He used the long shot Nerf gun as the base of the gun and spray painted it silver. From there, he weathered it using black acrylic paint. For this process, he was constantly painting it on and smearing it off, using a rag to do so. On top of that, he used a Dremel in order to make scratch and bullet marks, enhancing its realistic feel. Here we can see some of the scratches that Kyle made using the Dremel. Here are the bullet ricochets that Kyle also made using the Dremel. Due to the fact that it was in the intro, I would like to address these goggles. These are simply safety goggles that I've used some sandpaper to scratch up and some brown spray paint to make it seem like there is dirt caked on to its surface. This is a prop that was not featured in the intro. This space helmet was made using an old football helmet as its base. The front was Dremeled off. Afterwards, I initially used some hot glue to parent the lenses, which came from an old pair of safety glasses, but realized the glue was not strong enough. Due to this, I used Gorilla Glue to more effectively keep the lenses in place. I colored the helmet using dark green spray paint, then used a Dremel to create some scratches on the surface of the helmet. Kyle then went over the scratches with some silver spray paint to finish everything off. I'm debating if I want to add some sort of Galactic Force logo on its side, but as of now I'm quite satisfied as to how this prop came out. As you can see, weathering is littered all throughout the surface of the helmet. Here is a final showcase of all of the props before we move on to the editing portion of this video. With all of our sci-fi props showcased, we can get into my first editing tip, color grading. For this sci-fi color grading tip, I will be using Hitfilm for Express. Under the Effects tab of Hitfilm, I've opened up the color correction folder and dragged the hue, saturation, and lightness effect onto my footage. At this point, I was really just experimenting with the abilities of this effect and found that it didn't work too well. Besides the fact that you can add a red tinge to your footage, I wanted to try a different effect to see if I could get any better results. I then applied the gamma effect onto my clip and was far more satisfied with the coloring this effect could pull off. After experimenting for a bit, I found that by mixing the red, blue, and green gamma, I could get an amazing, cool, and modern look over my footage. By unselecting and selecting the footage, you can see the impact it has created. The next effect I dragged onto my clip was the color temperature effect. By lowering this effect, my footage became a cool blue, but when I increased the temperature, my footage became a warm red. The effect I tried was titled Crush Blacks and Whites. I didn't expect a great result from this. It really just created a lot of contrast, which I suppose could be good for sci-fi film. I found that the gamma and color temperature effects worked best for color grading a sci-fi film. The next Hitfilm 4 Express effect is a laser blast. The first step of this effect is to select your clip and make it a composite shot by clicking Make Composite Shot. Once this is completed, click New Layer, Plane, and title it Flare, making sure the plane is black. Once your plane is created, select the Light Flares effect and drag it onto the plane. You can see that we now have a traditional lens flare, but we want to make it seem like it's a laser, so change the flare type to flashlight LED, then right click on the plane and turn the blend mode to add. Afterwards, adjust the flare size under the controls in order for it to fit over the barrel of your gun. Before we do any tracking, let's shorten the plane down right before you shoot your laser in your clip. In order to have the flare stay with the barrel of your gun, open up the hotspot position section of the effect and click the circle next to the bar labeled center. As you go one frame at a time, adjust the flare to the barrel of your gun. Each movement and adjustment you make so the flare stays with the barrel will create a new point. Also, don't forget to shorten your plane so it lasts how long you would like it to. You are really just animating the flare so it stays with the gun. Next, we'll be keyframing the intensity of the flare. To do this, click the circle next to the bar labeled intensity. Make your first point low, the next slightly higher, then the middle point the most intense, then escalate down in intensity. Doing this will make it seem that the laser is exploding from the rifle. Here is the final effect. And there you have it. Our sci-fi props and some tips to make your sci-fi short films even better. Remember, when using a prop such as a laser gun or any other props that may look real and dangerous, notify those around you that what you are holding is fake. If you do not do this, you can get into serious legal trouble. Just an additional reminder, Backyard Filmmaking episodes will now be uploaded either every Saturday or Sunday. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Backyard Filmmaking. Don't be afraid to hit that like button or even subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future videos, tell us in the comments below, and thanks for watching!